sort of had a good morning. I hope you found the training sessions and well, helpful, I think, is the thing, and we feel now that we can go away from this final day of Welsh Conference renewed in a spirit to take us forward through to the next set of elections, which is next May. So just a quick reminder to those, if you hadn't collected any of the awards that we made on behalf of our long service standing awards and our best campaigning awards, etc., they're available on the party stands. So if you're within your CLP area and you're here, can you please take them and make sure that the recipients get them? And if there is a chance to get a photograph back into the Welsh Labour Party office, that would be great. So there we go. So thanks very much for that. We're going to move on, and to open our business this morning, I invite our Chief Scrutineer, Dave Bazina, to report on the results of the Standing Orders Committee and the Welsh Policy Forum ballots. Dave.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning, Conference. Dave Bazina, GMB and Chief Scrutineer. I usually start off with a quick couple of thanks, but I usually save the last of my thanks for the wonderful carers up in the Honeybees creche. They play I think, colleague from Gower yesterday, stressed how important their provision is. They enable people like me with youngsters to actually participate fully in conference. It's massively important. But my little one, Ariana's actually dipping out of the creche for the session this morning. She's sitting up on the platform. Unfortunately, they put her near the pause, the sort of mute button. So I'm a bit worried whether I get through this. So I guess I'll crack straight on. Can I just say also thanks to those who volunteered to be tellers. We didn't need them again at conference this year, but we wouldn't be able to proceed with conference business without knowing that they're in place. So thanks for your volunteering. Thanks all to those who volunteered and acted as scrutineers last night when all of you were heading off to various places after conference. The scrutineers were with us sort of counting the ballot papers. Thanks as always to Wales Labour staff, the wonderful Wales Labour staff, for all the preparation work that goes into preparing for the ballots, and specific to Alice Hughes, who helped making sure I conducted the count, and we conducted the count in the correct way. Big thanks also to you as delegates. I guess for another conference we've had no card votes, which makes our job quite a lot easier. Yes. And I'm sure that's in no small part as well to the excellent chairing of both our Wales Labour stalwart Anne Jones and my GMB colleague Tom Hoyle. But thanks to you all. So I've got two ballots to report on. One is the election of the male representatives to the Standing Orders Committee, and there were 5 candidates for which there were 3 places. The 3 women appointees to the SOC are listed in the SOC report, and as there were no more nominations, they got elected automatically. That's Zoe Blundell, Dawn McGuinness and Abby Gutterings. So in terms of the ballot for the male seats, just to explain for anyone, some I know most are familiar with the process, but for those not, the ballot's conducted in 2 sections amongst the party units and affiliates. Each section constitutes 50% of the overall vote. The votes are then weighted in section, then aggregated for the overall result. I'll give the percentages breakdown for candidates in each section, then the weighted percentage in each section, and then the overall aggregate. So the affiliate section, I'll just give the percentage weighted vote. The percentage weighted vote, Ian Bounds, 14.52, Nigel Gibbs, 15.21, Zacchaeus Hayward, 0.69, Stephen O'Connor, 0.23, Carl Whitehead, 19.35. In the party units, the weighted vote was as follows: Ian Bounds, 12.02, Nigel Gibbs, 12.98, Zacchaeus Hayward, 5.77, Stephen O'Connor, 5.77, Carl Whitehead, 13.46. So the final weighted results were as follows: Ian Bounds, 26.54%, Nigel Gibbs, 28.19%, Zacchaeus Hayward, 6.46%, and Stephen O'Connor, 6.00%, Carl Whitehead, 32.81%. I'm therefore happy to confirm those elected for the male seats are Carl Whitehead, Nigel Gibbs and Ian Bounds. There was a further ballot then for the Welsh Policy Forum representatives from conference. There was only one ballot. In the CLP section, there was one nominee, and then happy to report that Kieran Russell from my own Caerphilly CLP was appointed from the CLP section. From the affiliate section, there was a ballot with 2 candidates to be selected from 5, with there a need to be a gender balance in the outcome. The votes were as follows: Alan Davis, 46.21%, David Llewellyn Davis, 2.27%, Carl Durden, 3.79%, Eve Navias, 46.21%, and Mark Turner, 1.52%. As gender balance was at the highest 2 candidates were Alan Davis and Eve Navias, and as gender balance was attained in that result, I can confirm that Alan Davis and Eve Navias are elected to the Policy Forum. So can I say congratulations to all those successful candidates. I'm sure an opportunity will arise for those that weren't successful to stand again, but thanks for putting your name forward. Thank you, conference.
Thanks very much for that, Dave, and thank you to all the tellers and scrutineers, and we thank you for coming and giving us those results. And so, conference, do we accept the report of the Chief Scrutineer, please? Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much. That's accepted. Thank you. We turn to the bit in the conference which I think is quite telling and quite meaningful. We just need to take a few moments now to reflect and remember friends and comrades, many of whom we have lost in the last year. So I invite you, if you're able to, should we stand just for a moment to pay tribute to those people? Thank you, conference. Yeah, so we now move on our agenda to the Welsh Labour Party General Secretary's report. So I'm going to hand over to Joe Locke to deliver his report. Joe.
Thank you, Chair. Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm going to start off with my normal preamble. There are many reasons why I'm not a politician. Public speaking is chief amongst them. I'm also painfully dyslexic. I'm very grateful to my deputy who's provided me with my speech on special printed paper and a special see-through ruler just so I don't lose my place. But if I do lose my place, please do bear with me. Comrades, friends, conference, it's a real honour to stand before you today as your General Secretary and to do so at what will be our final Welsh Labour Conference before the most important election since devolution began. Let me begin with a heartfelt thank you to our incredible Welsh Labour staff who should be dotted around the whole. Your dedication, your late nights, and yes, even your heroic troubleshooting of organised issues have been nothing short of inspiring. You helped drive our candidate recruitment process, support our members, and build a campaign machine ready for the biggest challenge yet. I can't tell you how much they inspire pride in me as the General Secretary, just how incredible they are. So if you could just join me thanking them, that would be really appreciated. Can I also thank CLP officers, branch reps, affiliates and volunteers. This party runs on your energy and your values. You do the unglamorous, essential work, sometimes with no thanks, but always with huge impact. You are the soul of this movement. Thank you very much. We're now less than a year from polling day, and with our candidate recruitment process well underway, our brilliant campaigners stepping forward, we are not just preparing for this fight, we are in it. Because this election is not routine. It is a fight for the future of Wales. We know the threats we face. Reform UK will offer rage, not reason. Their plan is to divide our communities and tear down trust in public life. They offer blame, not solutions. Plaid Cymru, meanwhile, want to pull us back into another round of endless constitutional debate. Let's be clear. While Labour is fighting to cut waiting lists and protect free prescriptions, Plaid are planning referendums and arguments about the Constitution. They talk the language of progress, but when it comes to delivery, they fall short. They don't just want more devolution, they want separation. That is not solidarity, it is a distraction. And conference, while we challenge that agenda, we must also celebrate what we've achieved. Because when we talk about power in partnership, we're not talking about theory, we're talking about real-world impacts of two Labour governments already working together for Wales. Whether it's the record funding settlement secured for public services, or action on steel, clean energy or rail investment, Welsh Labour and UK Labour are already showing what happens when grown-up progressive politics replaces chaos and confrontation. We don't wait for permission, we lead. But when we're in government at both ends of the M4, we deliver more. Let's say that clearly and proudly. Two Labour governments already working together is delivering for Wales. That is something we will defend and build on. And our approach is rooted in a powerful, values-led story about Wales. The Red Welsh Way and Power in Partnership are complementary pillars of Welsh Labour's story at the forthcoming election. The Red Welsh Way sets out a distinctly Welsh Labour approach, driven by fairness, ambition and opportunity. It is a bold, confident vision shaped not just by policies, but by people, our members, our organisers and our communities across Wales. It is a mission for change, and it starts with how we organise, how we listen and how we lead. We know people are struggling, that trust in politics is fragile, that voters have drifted away from us and from politics altogether. But we also know that the answer is not nationalism or nativism, it's delivery. That means real answers to the cost of living crisis, to insecure work and to falling waiting lists. It means defending the principle of free prescriptions, investing in the NHS and fighting for decent pay, safe working conditions in our public sector, for our public sector workers. And above all, it means being rooted in the communities that we seek to serve. And that's why I'm so proud of the calibre of candidates coming forward. They aren't just campaigners, they're community champions. Nurses, carers, trade unionists, teachers, organisers, real people with real stories who voters can trust to understand their lives and stand up for their communities. But let me be honest, conference, this will not be easy. It will take every one of us, the door knockers, the data crunchers, the leaflet stuffers, the WhatsApp warriors, and yes, the last-minute canvassers who are still asking for the postcode on the day of canvassing. As an organisation, we're not just preparing for this election, we're preparing for a moment of transformation. That means being ready to connect with every voter with our mission, our candidate and our story. This is our moment. A choice between delivery or distraction, between solidarity or division, between a fairer Wales or a fractured one. And it's a choice we can win if we stay united, stay focused, and take our case to every doorstep. We are not just a party, we are a movement. And with our values, our record, and our people, we can win this fight. Let's go out and show Wales and show Wales that Welsh Labour delivers. Welsh Labour defends, and Welsh Labour, with your passion and pride, will win. Together, as one party, one movement, we will deliver a campaign that reflects the best of our values and the strength of our partnership with the people of Wales. Diolch yn fawr iawn, conference. Let's get to work.
Thanks very much for that, Joe. And can I just say thank you on a personal level. As you know, we now have a new chair in Tom Hoyles, and I know that you'll give Tom the support that you've given me over the last 12 months as chair. And it's been a privilege to work alongside you and to continue to work alongside you, because I'm not going away. I'm going to be knocking on your door saying we need more resources up north. But to say that Joe and his small team, and they are a small team, do the immense work, and I think even just putting this conference on. So it's a thank you to everybody working in the office for all of that. And so we are grateful. And at the times when we do shout at you, but we are very grateful, Joe, for all you and the team do. So diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much. So we're going to move on, and now we're going to come to an address by our Deputy First Minister. So please welcome Deputy First Minister for Wales, Ymunwch Davies.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, a bore da I chi gyd, croeso I chi gyd. It's great to be here with you, with friends, in what is a really crucial year ahead of you. Ahead of us as a nation, as a party, for all of us, it is a critical year. But it is good to be here again in Llandudno, amongst friends and fellow campaigners. I've, all my life, like many of you, been an active campaigner, from a young boy knocking on doorsteps, getting the vote out, getting Labour people passionate about the fight that is on our hands. And we have got a fight in the year ahead, but we are up for it. I am up for it. That little boy inside me that used to be on the doorsteps is still inside me. I'll be there with you in all weathers, in all conditions, against all the battles, to get our vote out and to win it for the values that are important for us as a Labour movement. As trade unionists, as Labour Party members, as affiliates, we have a battle on our hands, but we are up to it. And we all need to be up to it in the year ahead. But I want to say, conference, it's been quite a year. It's been a year since Eluned Morgan became the First Minister of Wales, and I proudly took on the role as Deputy. It's been a year since UK Labour, of course, won the general election, and let's just remind ourselves, sweeping the Tories out of Westminster and every single Tory MP out of Wales. That was a good moment. But now, just in a year from now, the people of Wales will go to the polls once again. And the people of Wales will decide the future of this great nation, and they will elect the next future government. And I know that the nation is sometimes feeling tired. And why wouldn't they? It's been a tough few years. It's been a tough decade and more. From a global pandemic to the cost of living crisis, and also through those 14 years of austerity. And I know the Tories want us to forget about that and not mention it. But those in this conference chamber who work in local authorities, in public services, in health, in social services, for those who sustain the public realm of our great nation, they know what those years have been like. It has been tough. But this party is also built on hope and belief that we can build a better future. That after 14 years of trying to protect our communities from the damage of those years of Tory governments, we finally now have that opportunity, that wonderful moment of excitement of two governments working together with the same values, with those deep Labour values, pulling in the same direction on behalf of the communities we represent. And with those two Labour governments working together, I say to you, a better Wales is within reach. But in saying that, we know that the threat that we face has never been greater. It has never been greater. We've seen the rise of far-right populist politics, not just here in the UK, but right across the world. There is a real and present risk that reform will top the polls here at home in Wales, in the birthplace of the values of the Labour Party, the Labour movement, the Labour family. We cannot let that happen. The choice before the people of Wales next May is simple. It is about hope versus fear. The Wales and the Labour family that I know, that I've grown up in, has never been afraid to rise to challenges like this, to take on the braggarts and the bullies, the snake oil salesmen of populist politics and the easy answers, the purveyors of pessimism, of discord and division. We've never been afraid of taking these people on. Our history has been in taking these people on. In Wales, we have to choose the solutions, the better future. Choosing solutions, not scapegoats. We choose hope. Hope for our NHS, hope for our public services, hope for the people we represent, hope for a greener, fairer Wales, and hope for our children's future as well. That is the mission ahead of us in the year ahead, and we will do it together. Now, let me just be crystal clear here. Nigel Farage doesn't know about Wales and doesn't care about Wales. Nothing could make that clear than when he says he sees the future of Wales in reopening the coal mines and sending our children back down the pits. Now, I know, like many of you, I know mining communities. I've grown up in mining communities. I represent former mining communities. And generations of miners and their families were rightly proud of the work that they did and the cohesion of those communities. They worked hard day in, day out in dangerous and difficult conditions to provide for their families and actually to provide for the industrial might of this great nation. But they also bore the consequences. I suspect that Nigel Farage has never sat in the front room of a terrace house with a miner on oxygen, speaking about that proud history and speaking about how they would never want to see their children, their grandchildren, go down the mines. That's what Nigel Farage is. He turns up here in Wales, makes a soundbite and disappears. He doesn't know about Wales. He doesn't care about Wales. And let me say today, one of the legacies of that are the disused coal tips. So many in our communities, North and South Wales, from Gresham down to the deeper on the valleys, all parts of Wales live with the legacy of those coal tips. We will deal with that. Those coal tips cast a shadow over the homes and communities of those former mining communities. But the truth is, Farage hasn't got a clue in what the lives of these people of Wales means. For him, Wales is nothing more than a latest political playground. We've seen what happens when populists make cheap promises that they can't deliver. We've seen it with Trump. We've seen it with over a decade of brutal Tory cuts. It's working people who actually pay the price. Make no mistake, reform will drive down wages, they will scrap protections for our workplaces, they will sell off Wales to the highest bidder, they will wreck our NHS. Farage wants to reopen coal mines because he wants to close down hope. He wants to look to the past, not to the future. Conference, let's stop Farage in his tracks. We have got to believe in better than Farage's vision for ourselves, for our families, and for the future of the people of Wales. That is why we joined the Labour Party. That is why we came together. It's why we're all here today. We clean up the past, so we build that better future for our children and our grandchildren. There are over 2,500 disused coal tips across Wales. Nobody here, nobody from the South Wales valleys, nobody from Wales needs to be reminded about the tragedy of Aberfan. And as we face climate change, as we face increasing traumatic weather, we know that we have to make those tips safe for future generations. Ask the people of Tylerstown, ask the people of Cwmteleiri. I've been there in the dark of the morning when we've had slips and spoken to those families. They want us, the Labour government, to work together with the UK Labour government to make those safe. And that's why I am proud that we have now got two Labour governments working together, putting the funding in place. After years of the Tories refusing to put a penny piece into making our coal tips safe, we now have UK Labour government and Welsh government making them safe for now and future generations. That is what Labour does together, power in partnership. And look at the contrast yesterday in the First Minister's speech, Eluned Morgan's speech, contrast with Farage's vision. Farage dragging us back to the past. us talking about how we seize the opportunity with workers at the forefront of it, with AI, for the new revolution ahead. A bright future, an exciting future, not a future based in the past there. We won't settle for working people going back in time and back down the pits. The world and our climate is changing fast. We need to rise to those challenges, build that greener, safer future, a modern economy with better jobs and wages in every corner of the country, north, south, east and west, rural Wales, urban Wales, every part of the country. And we are seeing, by the way, just in the coal tip safety area, we are seeing local companies with local jobs and apprentices building that better future through the coal tip safety investment. We're building flood defences as well, from Rhyl to Aberaeron, supporting jobs and apprenticeships. We're investing in cutting-edge technologies with Wales's huge potential for floating offshore wind. We've supported 45,000 young people into work or training. If anybody wants to learn about us, about how to drive down youth unemployment, look to what we're doing in Wales, about how we do it well and we do it intelligently. We've got 100,000 apprenticeships being delivered. And all of this conference, all of it, is underpinned by our commitment to work in real social partnership with our trade unions, putting our Welsh Labour values right at the heart of Welsh Government. That is Labour principles, Labour values in action in government. And that's what we are fighting to preserve in the year ahead. And we are proving that Wales doesn't have to choose between prosperity and fairness. We can have both, along with cleaner rivers, cleaner seas, cleaner streets, restoring biodiversity, tackling climate change, building that sustainable and vibrant future for farming as well, and so much more. And that is what the Red Welsh Way is all about. That is what Eluned and every member of her ministerial team, every member of the Senedd group, and all of you, that is what we are driving to achieve. In Eluned, we have a leader who is truly ambitious for Wales, who stands up and speaks out, who's determined to give everyone in Wales a fair shot at building their own better future. So this is our time to choose. As a party, as a nation, as the people of Wales. Next May is going to be the most important election in the history of devolution. We either have a Wales that moves forward together, or we get Wales pulled backwards by the politics of division and discord and discontent. A future where our children breathe clean air, learn new skills, build their dreams and their futures for a brighter, greener future. Or it's one where Farod sends them back down the pits. It's hope versus fear. Let's stand up for Hope Conference. Let's stand up for Wales. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thanks very much for that, Hugh, and thank you for your conference speech. We're now going to move on to the debate on connecting communities.
We're just going to swap chairs.
And we're just going to swap chairs at this point, so I'll just wait while our new chair comes round. So, there we go. Getting in. Over to you.
Marvellous, thank you, Anne. And thank you for everything you've done as chair over the last year, Anne. A very tough act to follow, big shoes to fill, but I'm glad you're aware that this is not the end, there's more we need from you. So with that note, let's move to the Connecting Communities debate. So can we start this debate by running the video, please?
my experiences of using the trains in Wales is very good. I'm very keen on the new trains. They're a more comfortable and enjoyable experience to travel on. The trains are quieter and they've thought about the length of the journey, so longer journeys tend to have more comfortable seats.
As a student in South Wales that regularly uses the trains to get to university in Caerdydd, this is something that I'm really grateful for and that people like me will benefit from.
Active travel means that me and my family can get around town without having to choose the car. I've got 2 small children who love cycling, and by investing in active travel around Cardiff and around Wales, they feel safe to use it as a means to get around.
The bus franchise bill will be a really good thing for Wales. I grew up in a rural area myself, and the bus service there was quite infrequent, having the involvement of Transport for Wales and Welsh Government will be an excellent thing for Wales.
We've had the announcement of the new train stations, and that is incredible for a ward like this, because Adamsdown has the main train line from London to Cardiff running right through it, yet we haven't had a train station for 100 years. Now, with 2 Labour governments, we suddenly have that coming on a horizon, and that is a difference, a tangible difference that these governments are making.
Marvellous. Now to open the session, can we invite Ken Skates to the stage to deliver the opening speech?
Well, diolch yn fawr iawn. It's fabulous to be with you today, another sunny day in Llandudno. Thank you so much for attending this morning's session. Just about Llandudno, you may be or you may not be aware of some of the history of this fine town. It was a place that a girl called Alice Liddell used to come on holiday to very regularly. Alice was the person who inspired the creation of the lead character in Alice in Wonderland. And if you get some time before leaving today, have a little wander around Llandudno, because there are certain cues to the characters that were in that story, including Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Now, the leaders of Reform and Plaid Cymru both present an equal risk to our security. Plaid Cymru, they wouldn't just want to take us out of the UK, they want to rip us out of NATO. They create chaos, whereas Reform, well, for Reform, read Russia. Russia, Reform, Reform, Russia. Both of those parties would leave Wales as the soft belly of Europe. And again, if you get time to visit Conwy before you leave, that's a fabulous town as well. It is home to what is supposedly the smallest house in the world on the seafront. It is the venue for the Conservatives' conference after next May's, well, at least the ground floor is. No, it is a pleasure to be with you today. It really is, to report on progress in connecting communities. And we have a great story to tell as a result of partnership in power. Before I report on that progress, though, I just want to tell you a story about somebody that I met at Ysgol Dinas Bran in my constituency in Llangollen recently, when I spoke with sixth formers about the concerns and the challenges that they face every day. And I was chatting with a student, Jackson, who was saying that when you live in a valley like Llangollen, sometimes if you can't afford or access frequent, safe, reliable public transport, or if it is unaffordable, your life's hopes end up being locked into that valley. And it is our purpose in Welsh Labour to ensure that every person, young and old, has freedom and can reach what they aspire to. And that is why we are absolutely determined to take forward the legislation that will see us take back control of our bus network. The bus bill is proceeding through the Senedd right now, and it will receive royal assent early in the new year. This will be groundbreaking in ensuring that people like Jackson have their hopes and their aspirations wide open to the world. And I'm delighted to say that ahead of the franchising and ahead of receiving royal assent, we will be introducing a cap of £1 per bus journey for young people from later in this autumn. Now, in terms of rail, you can barely turn on the news these days without a story about rail. And most of it now, as a result of having a Labour government at Westminster, is positive indeed. We've agreed on pipelines of enhancements for the Welsh rail network. In the short term, having a value of £1 billion. In the longer term, a value of £4 billion. Enhancements the length and breadth of Wales, better connecting our communities within Wales and better connecting our communities with the rest of the United Kingdom. And work is beginning immediately because we've secured £445 million to be able to commence our ambitious plans to enhance the rail network. That £445 million will unlock future investment in further spending rounds. So what does it amount to? What will it deliver in the short term? What can we expect? Well, first, in South Wales, it will deliver the long-awaited work on the relief lines, which are vitally important to deliver the second component of what that funding provides, the 5 stations that were recommended by Lord Burns. It will also pay for the Cardiff West Junction improvements to be undertaken. That will unlock Cardiff Rail, and it will also enhance services on the Corriton line. Furthermore, it will pay for the vital upgrades needed for the North Wales main line. And as a result of that, we will see, within the next 12 months, a 50% increase in rail frequency across North Wales. And then it will also pay for the first major component of the Metro programme in North Wales, which is resolution of capacity constraints at Payswood. That, in turn, will lead to 2 trains per hour as we move towards, in the next decade, 4 trains per hour between the great cities of Wrexham and Liverpool. Also, we'll see, within the next 12 months, a doubling of rail frequency between the cities of Wrexham and Chester. And this is only just the beginning, because we're going to be rolling out pay-as-you-go, tap on, tap off, across the network. We're going to be investing in more new trains. We have ordered £800 million of trains. We are taking one of the oldest fleets of trains that we inherited in 2018 to one of the newest fleets in Europe. A huge investment. On roads, we have listened. Eluned Morgan was absolutely crystal clear when she became First Minister that we need to listen. We've done just that on roads. And as a result, we are well on our way to filling and preventing more than 100,000 potholes. This is hugely important for the travelling public, whether you travel by car, van, lorry, or bike. And it's essential that we properly maintain our roads. This is a government that has just completed one of the most impressive engineering feats anywhere in the United Kingdom, the dualling of the A465, which will unlock economic opportunity for the heads of the valleys. We are completing the South Wales Metro programme, a hugely ambitious £1.4 billion programme of connecting communities across the South Wales valleys. And we're commencing work on Network North Wales and the metro services that we will expect to see here. We've also listened to our local authorities, our great councils. And as a result, from the next financial year, we'll be devolving both the funding and the decision-making to our regions and to our councils, those people who know their communities best. This is a huge investment that will go direct to the regions of Wales and the local authorities that serve our people so well. So huge strides are being made in terms of connecting communities. And it's all at risk next year. Because Plaid Cymru, for all they shout about wanting more money for rail, they're promising eventually independence, which carries with it, even on their own figures, an annual £2.4 billion deficit. That's on their figures, and they're yet to explain who would pay for all of our pensions. And reform, we know what chaos they would cause, and how they would set us back, and how they would undermine everything that we are doing in connecting communities. We set up Transport for Wales to deliver, and my goodness me, they have delivered brilliantly. We need to applaud, I think, the fine employees there, and also, crucially, our trade union partners. We work in partnership, whereas Tory governments of the past on transport worked as though they were at war with trade unions. We work in partnership, and as a result of that, we deliver. Now, I do firmly believe that in life, passion and purpose equals meaning. Our passion is fairness. Our purpose is health and wealth for all. Our meaning is to deliver it through power, partnership in power. This is the Red Welsh way, and we will build a fairer, better Wales for all. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you, Ken, for that speech. Okay, let's move to the motions. Can I have the speakers for motion 12 from ASLEF, investment in Welsh Railways, and motion 13, the Musicians Union, come down ready. When you come up, please remember to give your name, the organisation you're from, even though it's listed, but also whether or not you're a first-time speaker.
Chair, conference, thank you very much. My name is Dan Masrani. I'm a train driver from Cardiff. I'm representing ASLEF, and we are moving motion 12, which is investing in Welsh Railways. So it's great to be back here at conference and to once again have the opportunity to talk about one of my favourite subjects, which is the railways. I've been a driver now for 23 years. I absolutely love my job and I have a real passion for my industry. And since we've been taken over by TfW, what a change. What a change. There's hope again for the railways in our country after decades of decline. We all know that investment in infrastructure is how we create jobs and how we boost the economy. We generate real, tangible change for people, and it's an undeniably good thing to do. Investment in the railways does all this good work, but whilst also connecting communities, providing crucial links for people and goods to move efficiently across Wales. Conference, for too long, Wales has been disconnected. Our railways following the beaching cuts in the 60s, building on cuts before that. The focus has been on connecting services west to east and into England, and with a lack of connection north to south along the west of our country. When I travel from Cardiff to Nghynhadledd to look after members, it takes me over 4 hours. When my colleague travels from Holyhead to Pwllheli by train, it takes over 6 hours. Small distance, long times. Both of us have to travel via England, and the journeys include many changes. The lack of a north, mid, south link needs to be addressed. The feasibility study that TfW have carried out into connecting Bangor and Afon Wen via rail highlights this need to deliver connections along the whole of the west coast to connect the north and south of Wales. We would like to see these plans put into place, but we would call for assessments to be made for the potential for this and other new connections to not be light rail, but to be heavy rail, to best support both our passenger services, but also our freight network to enable further growth. The rail freight sector brings billions to the UK economy. It can create jobs and support our Welsh infrastructure and industry. Right now, the rail sector is still privatised. If we are to have a well-planned and delivered rail sector, the time is now for the public to take a stake in the operation of a publicly owned rail freight service to support our economy and achieve our climate goals. Conference, now is the time to be ambitious. Let's provide a whole integrated route that can be covered by trains, both passenger and freight, protecting and linking our communities for now and for the future. Electrified, so meeting our climate targets, and allowing Welsh people and Welsh goods to get anywhere in Wales by rail without having to make a huge detour out of our country as we do now, which makes it impractical for people, business and tourism. Let's connect and showcase all of Wales with the greenest transport mode there is. We have the talent and experience here to deliver the programme of electrification, and we have the drive to see our rail network expanded. Let's push forward with these plans to connect our country. Conference, I move. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate.
Bore da Nghynhadledd, Elizabeth Owens, Undeb y Cerddorion. Good morning, conference. Elizabeth Owens, Musicians Union. Yesterday, at the very opening of her speech, the First Minister reminded us of a truth that defines who we are. She said, Wales and Welsh Labour have always punched above our weight in grit and in grace, in coal and in culture, in song and in science. This is true, but is something we must genuinely and actively nourish. Wales can't continue to claim its historic status of land of song if access to music and the arts are reserved for the few and not the many. This is my second time at this lectern delivering the MU's motion to conference, but I've sat in this venue many, many more times as an orchestra member, and that's entirely due to having had free access to culture and music in my formative years. I come from a largely tone-deaf, working-class family in Gowerton. At Tregored Juniors, I was given access to a recorder and a violin and instrumental tuition for free. At Gowden Comprehensive, I moved on to clarinet and saxophone. Again, instruments and tuition were completely free. Our annual school concert was held at Swansea's beautiful Brangwyn Hall, where we filled the stage with our school orchestra, choir, wind band and brass bands. Incidentally, my French teacher was also Nia Griffiths, and Hugh Ranker Davis's mother was my school secretary, so small world. I became a member of the National Youth Orchestra of Wales, the oldest youth orchestra in the world, which at the time was heavily subsidised and tutored by some of the finest and most respected musicians in the UK. Every year we gave a concert tour around Wales, St Asaph, St David's Cathedrals, National Eisteddfod, and of course our national concert hall, St David's Hall in Cardiff, which has now been closed for almost 2 years and will be closed for at least another 2. I was the first person in my family to go to university, attaining a BA Honours degree in music from the University of East Anglia, a music department that has since closed due to budget cuts. Then a Master of Arts in Music Performance from the Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff. Whilst in Cardiff, I occasionally taught at the junior department of the college, a department which has recently closed down due to cuts. After graduating, I began working as a peripatetic instrumental tutor for a local education authority. At that time, this was a salaried position with holiday and sickness pay. 25 years later, such salaried positions are few and far between due to cuts. I spent 15 years working as a peri, and some of my proudest achievements were organising concert tours in Europe for the County Youth Big Band. One year we successfully auditioned to perform on the free stage at the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. We were the first and possibly still the only Welsh group to perform on this stage. These tours didn't just involve concert performances, but visits to the area's most important cultural and historical venues, the Cloth Hall and Menin Gate in Ypres, Tyncott and Langemarck cemeteries, CERN and the Large Hadron Collider, the United Nations in Geneva. We always focused on how culture connects and unifies people and transcends language and social barriers. Since leaving teaching, largely due to cuts, I've worked full-time as a professional freelance musician. Unfortunately, due to cuts, job opportunities and pay are declining fast. What this motion calls for is modest, to raise the Welsh Government's investment in culture from 0.67% to 0.7% of its budget, an increase of just 7.7 million. Not a blank cheque, a realistic, symbolic and strategic commitment to the future. I'd argue, especially now, that culture is a form of resistance. We live in a time when certain bad actors in our society thrive on division and disengagement. So to counteract this, we must invest in the things that unite us. Culture gives people belonging, identity, pride. It connects us across difference and difficulty. Just an hour or so down the road from here is Llangollen, home of the world-famous International Eisteddfod, where the world showcases and shares their proud cultures. In the south of England this weekend, is arguably the world's most famous festival, Glastonbury. Yet again, it's provided a platform for artists to support the internationally oppressed, speaking up to fill the silences and misinformation spread by some of the media and governments of the world. The sea of Palestinian flags, especially at Worthy Farm, sends a powerful message that hopefully the world's media cannot continue to ignore. The formation of the National Music Service was welcome, but it has yet to grapple with the very real problems of the postcode lottery of charging for instrumental lessons and poor terms and conditions for peripatetic music teachers. The Labour movement has a duty to ensure that the working class have access to both participating in and enjoying the arts. The very soul of our nation is at stake. Diolch yn fawr.
Okay, well, now we're going to move forward to open the debate. Oh, we need to second them. Absolutely right. Good spot. So can I get a seconder for the floor for motion 12? 1. And can I get a second for motion 13? Oh, no, there's 13. We have to go to no, that's great. Wonderful. Thank you, conference. Now, let's open the debate. We'll take them in groups of 3. Remember to give your name, the CLP, union, or social society you're from, and as well as that, whether or not you're a first-time speaker. It's a broad debate. You can speak on this or anything else that comes under the tag the SSC have asked me to remind. So, let's kick off. Can we go for the gentleman in the front with the beard? Can we go for the gentleman with another beard here? And we'll go for the lady with the yellow top, please. One with the yellow top. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Ivan Monkton, Unite. 50 years a Welsh trade unionist, despite the accent. And I'm supporting motion 13 on Welsh culture. First of all, I'd like to thank the Musicians' Union for their long-standing fight to make sure that these things are raised almost on an annual basis. They do a great job. So, Wales, as we've been told, is the land of song. It's also the land of bardic poetry from before medieval times. In fact, the history of Wales wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for Welsh poetry. My own family are artists. Both my wife, my daughter, and my son are all artists. And on a personal level, anybody that sees my social media posts know that my interests in life are politics, music, and literature. So I have an interest in this. The Senate's Culture and Sports Committee report from January 2025, this year, after a decade of cuts, and I quote from it, said, "Culture and sport are vital threads in the fabric of what makes life worth living. They enrich the human experience and are not merely luxuries to be enjoyed during times of plenty. Yet Wales ranks second bottom of European countries for cultural services. Musical and other venues, large and small, are struggling. Community arts groups like the one in my little hometown of Prestine, the Mid-Border Arts Association, their funding has been cut and it's hitting really hard. The Welsh Books Council had funding cuts. A brilliant organisation. In a past life, I was a bookseller, and I can tell you I was astounded at the work the Welsh Books Council did, and they're facing cuts. The Arts Council for Wales has had a 20% cut in real terms over the last 10 years, and indeed, it's only 2 years ago that I spoke in here on the cuts in heritage that Wales is seeing. So there's lots of cuts going on. We understand, we absolutely understand, all of us, that times are hard. But this motion supports the introduction of a culture bill with targets for investment, and it very respectfully asks Welsh Labour to explore the possibility of including this in the Senate's manifesto for next year. So I would please ask you to support Welsh culture and to support this motion.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Chair. Ballot Conference, Mark Goodjohn, Vale of Good Morgan, COP, Vice Chair membership, first-time delegate and first-time speaker. Thank you, Lord. And also proud member of the Musicians' Union, speaking in support of the Musicians' Union motion 13. Music and other creative arts are well known to be fundamental in the development of cultures, civilizations, and humanity itself. It is a crucial part of our evolution. Countries and communities that embrace music and the other creative arts are known to thrive and have increased well-being amongst its people. The effect is both macro and micro on a level. As with development of humanity, music and the other creative arts are also fundamental for the development of individual people. I myself had a difficult childhood. Undiagnosed neurodiversity and other conditions left me feeling different, separate from normal people, not understood, and led to a very deep depression. It was music that was crucial for me in helping to try and find ways of dealing with this. I found music and lyrics that I related to, that spoke to me, that helped me to not feel alone. It gave me the want to learn to play instruments and write music and lyrics, which has helped me to express myself, deal with and understand my inner thoughts and feelings. And it gave me the confidence and the ability to interact with people and groups and be able to stand and speak to lovely people like this, which earlier in my life would have absolutely terrified me, and still does. And it still does, but I've learned to. It gave me the confidence and the ability to interact with people in groups. And I often say, and I fully mean, that music literally saved my life. I would not be standing here today speaking to your conference if it was not for music. And subsequently, finally, becoming a full-time musician and creative artist myself, it has allowed me to work in the industry I wanted to work in, that has done so much for me and given me such a wide and valued variety of experience, and fundamentally helped me through my life and develop who I am. And as an example of this, if you like a bit of hard rock, then my band Soul Weaver are releasing a new single this week. Thank you. A new single called Red, which is about mental health issues, so it is relevant. And we are being told to follow the Red way as well, so if you want to go and stream and download Red by Soul Weaver, that would be great. The creative arts, though, is not just a hobby, something to do to pass a bit of time. They are a fundamental part of who we are. They are crucial to our well-being and mental health and can even literally save lives. But it can be difficult to find opportunities, expensive to start, to buy instruments, to pay for lessons. Small and medium-sized venues are struggling as people are finding it hard to afford tickets, and it is difficult for artists and bands to perform and record, as it can be expensive and difficult to get back the money. Like with sports such as football, a strong grassroots system with funding is extremely important to supporting a healthy creative arts. So please, conference, I urge, implore you to support this motion and understand music and the creative arts are far more than just a hobby and a crucial part of education, culture and evolution. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, conference. Jochen Valian.
Good morning, Prananda. Yesterday I was in red, but today I'm in yellow. I just want to support the motion Musician Union. As an independent member for Art Council of Wales, an Indian musical dancer, a woman of colour, and a cabinet member for Equality and Diversity in Cardiff Council, I'm honoured to stand today here to support the Musicians Union. Music is a universal language that transcends to the border, culture, and backgrounds. It has power of unite us, to heal us, and to bring us a joy. As a champion of equality and diversity, I believe that music can play a vital role in promoting a social cohesion and inclusivity. Particularly, music can be a powerful tool for supporting the well-being of individuals with learning disability and autism community. Community music initiative can provide a sense of connection, sense of belonging, can be tailored to meet the unique need of interest of an individual. Musical unions does incredible work in supporting, advocating for the musicians, ensuring that their rights are protected and their voice are heard. And I'm proud to stand here in solidarity with the union and celebrate, contribute that the musicians make to our rich culture and landscape. Let's continue to celebrate power of music to bring us together, to promote us working together. We can ensure that music remains a powerful force for the good of our community, that everyone has an opportunity to benefit from it, transformative power. I hope this updates the draft and importance music of well-being for inclusivity for every community. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Thank you, Gallagher. Okay, should we take another three? Can I see those hands? Gentleman at the back over there. There's a lady there with glasses as well. And I'll take this gentleman here as well, please. And that'll be it.
Chap at the back, there we go. Chair, Conference, Chris Binding, GMB, will be supporting the motions both by the Musicians Union and ASLEF, and I'll speak in support of the MU. Before I do, I think it would be remiss of me not to pay tribute to the outgoing chair of Welsh Labour, Anne Jones, who has always been a staunch ally of the trade union movement. But I'm particularly proud that my friend and colleague Tom Hoyles is now the chair of Welsh Labour. Not only is he the chair of Welsh Labour, but he's also the president of the Wales TUC. And who knows what title he'll have by the end of the conference. But genuinely, the link between the trade union movement and the party is really strong, and it's really important, and that is a shining example. You've clapped him once, don't clap him twice. You'll get used to it. So in Wales, our culture, our music and our language, our creative industries, it runs through our communities. It's not just our heritage, but it's the living heart of our nation. We welcome the Welsh Government's recent increase in funding, an increase of £4.4 million for the arts and culture and publishing. This is a step in the right direction, and we thank ministers, fellow trade unions and campaigners for making the case. Creative Wales, established by a Welsh Labour government, has shown what's possible when we invest in our creative industries. But let's be clear, after a decade or more of Conservative cuts, the sector is struggling. The Arts Council of Wales has seen a 29% real terms funding cut, and musicians face job insecurity, music education is under threat, and many cultural organisations are fighting to survive. Colleagues have spoken about the recent Senedd Committee report, A Decade of Cuts, and that lays bare the damage to the sector. It's why we need more than short-term fixes. The Future Generations Commissioner has called for a culture bill to make culture a statutory requirement for public bodies. This would help embed culture at the very heart of public life and help us achieve a Wales of vibrant culture and thriving Welsh language. New duties must come with real investment. Even now, culture makes up just 0.67% of the Welsh Government's budget, far below the 1% set by Jersey and miles behind our European neighbours. As the Musicians Union call for, raising this to just 0.7% would mean an extra £7 million for the sector. Conference, we need a plan for culture and a plan for music and a plan for sport. This motion will start that process, building us new foundations for culture in our communities. Let's show the world that Wales values its musicians, its artists and its storytellers. Let's invest in the future, invest in our language and in our communities. And I urge you to support both motions. Thank you.
A reminder, it's a broad debate, so feel free to suck up to the chair at any point. It always goes down well.
Bore da pawb. Conference Chair. My name is Tracy Sutton-Postlethwaite in support of the Music Union's motion. Why is culture important? It shapes our county, our country. It shapes the people who live in our country. It is a part of our Welsh identity. Culture and heritage is important for our children, our future, the Welsh language, Welsh music and Welsh life. I work in Wrexham Council and we are bidding to be the City of Culture 2028. This is to build on the success of Wrexham Football Club and the international interest in Wrexham that has come with this success. Wrexham Football Club has always been part of Wrexham culture and an integral part of the community of Wrexham. Cultural development builds community integrity and brings in essential income to areas communities and to people. For far too long, culture and heritage has been treated as an add-on when putting manifestos together. It's time it was given the importance it so richly deserves. Without realising it, culture and heritage drives everything we do. A commitment to introducing a culture bill is not just the right thing to do, it is the most important thing to do for Wales. It strengthens the requirements for public bodies to support culture and enshrines the commitment in legislation to the point that it will become second nature. We value our diversity, our language, our songs, our poetry. They define us, but we can't just rely on all of this happening without necessary support. Culture and heritage mean different things to different people, from supporting Welsh rugby to singing in a choir. The Musicians Union have done us a big favour by bringing this motion to conference. It's an opportunity for us to shout, Yma o hyd. Please shout with me, Yma o hyd. Support the Musicians Union. God, my teeth aren't working today. Support Welsh culture, support Wales. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Time for two more. Any hands?
No one.
Should we just take the gentleman down at the front? Is anyone else? Is it your last opportunity? Oh, apologies. So if you want to jump up there, and the lady as well, and then we'll call the debate.
Bore da pawb, Dylan Lewis Rowland, Unite Cymru. Cyfnogon yn llwyr cynnig yr undeb y cerddorwyr, ond hoffwn siarad o blaid cynnig aslef heddiw. I wholeheartedly support the motion from the Musicians Union, but today speaking in favour of the aslef motion. Not just for better transport, but for fairness, for investment and for Wales. For too long, Wales has suffered a legacy of underinvestment in its railways. While billions have been poured into networks in other parts of the UK, just 1 or 2% of rail infrastructure spending has reached us, despite over 10% of track. This is not just a funding gap, it's a historical injustice. It's time to scrap the current way the funding formulas work and stop Westminster departments deciding what is an England and Wales project. Because time after time, with HS2, Northern Powerhouse Rail, Oxford and Cambridge, and sadly, government after government, it has failed. Devolution must fully reach our rail infrastructure and serve and connect our communities. Because our communities were once the engine room of the Industrial Revolution, powering Britain's economy with coal and with steel. Yet the wealth we helped create has not returned to build our transport future. Now our people are paying the price with crumbling infrastructure and disconnected networks that the government is now fixing. If we are serious about a greener future, about growing a modern Welsh economy, about connecting rural communities to opportunity, we must build a railway system fit for a nation. Electrification, relinking north and south via Aberystwyth, and investment in freight and metro services are not luxuries, they are necessities. But this is about more than just tracks and trains. It's about justice. It's about giving Wales the infrastructure it needs to stand tall and move forward with confidence. It's not about being grateful for the pittance we get, as some want, but about being proud to demand our fair share and a redress of historical injustice. The £400 million investment announced is just a down payment. It's not the end. Let's stop asking for and let's stop getting scraps. It's time to demand what's fair, to build what's needed, and to put Wales on the right track. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen.
Diolch yn fawr, Cadeirydd. My name's Hefin David, member of the Senedd for Caerphilly, and this is actually the second time I've spoken at conference. The first time was 10 years ago, so it's nice to be back. And I'd say the right of delegates to speak at conference is perhaps why some of us Senedd members tend to take a step back here. But I feel so strongly about public transport, and particularly the trains. I wanted to say something today, perhaps a view from South Wales. And I was listening to Dylan speak just now, and I think it was slightly pessimistic because I've seen change happening on the Core Valleys lines. I've seen the newest trains in the whole of Europe now running on the Rumney to Cardiff line, which runs through my constituency. Thank you, Ken, for that. And I remember, I went to university in 1995. I lived at home because I'm a home bird and I love travelling on the trains from home. We were on the stinky Core Valleys lines Pacer trains that you'd get off the train and your clothes would smell of diesel and the wheels would squeak as they came into the platform. And in 2016, 21 years later, I was still catching the same trains to the Senedd. I remember calling Ian Bullock from Arriva Trains Wales into my office, the chief executive, and saying, why is your service so, and excuse my language, crap? And I've got to say, it's the Welsh Government that has transformed that service. Transformational change actually doesn't happen quickly, it happens gradually. But what we've seen over the last 10 years is that Core Valleys line's transformed. And the reason it's transformed is because of investment from the Welsh Government in that Core Valleys lines, and also the devolution of the Core Valleys lines to control of the Welsh Government, so we've got a truly nationalised rail service on those Core Valleys lines. What I want to say is that that transformational change has happened because we've had a vision for the Metro. I'm going to be taking on some work now with Ken to look at how we can get businesses, people and companies in the public sector to be using this Metro service. I've often likened it to a flower that flowers up from South Wales and is now flowering up to North Wales as well. And we're seeing those new carriages on the line across the network, but we're also going to see, with the investment that we've had, the same transformation that's happening in South Wales, happening in North Wales. And that's why the bus bill is so important. The bus bill will connect buses into that network. So we've got a truly integrated Metro service with a single ticketing system. That's got to be the ambition that we've got. That's where we need to be, so that I can get outside my house in Nelson and I can get a seamless journey into Cardiff Bay, and anyone else working in Cardiff can do exactly the same thing, but not just north and south, east and west as well. Now, when Ken first got the franchise sorted back in 2017-18, I remember he said, we've had the presents, now we've got to unwrap the packaging. And I thought, I think he's having a hostage to fortune here, because this is going to be tough to deliver. Do you know what? He's done it. Thank you, Ken, for everything you've done. Thank you, conference.
Thank you, Delegate.
Morning, conference. Katie Hall, Cymru Unison. First time speaker at this conference, and I thank you. I didn't plan to speak on this motion, but I just want to speak in support of the Music Union motion. I'm the current branch secretary at Cardiff University, and as many of you will know, the HE sector is in crisis at the moment. And when Cardiff announced over 400 job cuts in January this year, one of the schools they looked to close was music. And that didn't hit the headlines as much as some of the other schools did, and I think that's a real shame. Our Vice-Chancellor felt that the music school could close because we had the Welsh College over the road, completely missing that, firstly, they do two completely different things. The music school in Cardiff is so different to the Welsh College, but also she was missing that a lot of students come to Cardiff, they study history, languages, and the music is what helps their mental health. The music activity they do is what keeps their well-being so good. So please, 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 when we're looking at the cuts, can we look behind the headlines, not just the big schools that are closing, but also the small music schools as well? I support.
Thank you, Delegate. Now, conference, to close the debate, I invite Claire Hughes MP to take the stage and respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and diolch conference for the Connecting Communities debate, especially the delegates who all spoke so wonderfully, so confidently on both motions. So diolch fawr iawn I chi gyd. I'd firstly like to thank ASLEF for bringing their motion on investment in Welsh railways to conference. We are largely supportive of it. We greatly appreciate their recognition that we have made great progress on Welsh transport, and as we've heard this morning, that the Welsh Government has already delivered so much. And now that we have two Labour governments working together, we can go so much further to invest in Wales. As we heard from our Secretary of State, Joe Stevens, yesterday, the UK Labour government has recognised that non-devolved rail in Wales has been underfunded for decades, a recognition that we all know would never have happened under the Tories. This month's spending review marked a return to investing in Welsh rail infrastructure, and the £445 million that the Chancellor announced is a welcome first step to repairing over a decade of neglect. Welsh Labour has always and always will stand up for Wales. This includes calling for more investment in Welsh rail. We must, however, caveat our support of this motion, as we would not be able to proceed with the reopening of the lines between Bangor, Carnarvon, Aberystwyth and Carmarthen. Transport for Wales feasibility studies have shown that such a line would be extremely costly given the likely passenger numbers, and have recommended exploring bus or light rail options instead. Now, I'd also like to thank the Musicians' Union for their bold and ambitious motion. We absolutely agree with the statement which recognises and celebrates the importance of culture, including the arts, creative industries and heritage, to Wales's economy and national life. It's also right and proper that it should highlight the impact of 14 years of Tory austerity and the impact that this has had on Wales as a whole, and how it indirectly meant cuts to the sector, with the government having to move budget from every single budget line to health. Now, the election of a UK Labour government led to us in Wales receiving the largest ever budget settlement since devolution. Conference, we know that we can't fix everything in one budget, but we have certainly turned the corner, seeing uplifts in the culture budget and returning them to previous levels. So while we do support the thrust of the motion, the main ask is to explore the possibility of committing to a culture bill and a target. So you must first introduce the following caveats. Firstly, we commit to having a discussion to better understand the call from the WBFGC and to see what can be achieved to this end. Secondly, we're not able to commit to set an annual target percentage of expenditure of the Welsh Government budget to any portfolio. I know that you'll understand there are proper budgetary procedures that have to be followed, and any future Welsh Labour government will be sure to follow the correct and proper process. So we are pleased to accept these motions, and I'd like to thank once again both organisations for all of your work authoring these motions, and to everyone who's spoken so brilliantly today. Welsh Labour has been consistent in our support for connecting communities by supporting sustainable, affordable public transport right across Wales. As well, supporting all elements of our cultural sector, including sports, music, film, and of course, yn iaith Gymraeg. Today is only the latest step in our history of progress. Nghynhadledd, diolch yn fawr.
Thank you, Claire. Okay, let's move to the vote. Motion 12, can I see all those in favour? All those against? So that's passed, and a reminder that the WEC supports both motions. Motion 13, all those in favour? And all those against? Wonderful, all passed unanimously. Thank you very much, Conference. At Conference, that concludes our formal business for 2025. I want to thank everyone for their contributions and their commitment to shared values. I think we're just going to do a quick panel change for the last bit. Before we close completely, we're going to mark the end of conference with our traditions, and we're going to welcome to the stage Cor Meibion Colwyn, and they're going to sing Myfanwy, Cawl Lan, The Red Flag, where we'd all like you all to join in, please, and sing us out with Hen Blanfan Hadau. Before we do that, I would just like to say a big thank you as she comes on the stage to the previous chair and outgoing chair, Anne Jones, for her leadership and her integrity over the last year. It has been quite a difficult year, and she's chaired it all with grace. So thank you, Anne. And at which point, I think we'd like to welcome the choir to the stage. If they're not already here.
Yeah, that you way.
Oh, they're coming on this side. Okay.
Have we got song sheet?
Yes.
Oh, you want me to find it?
They're doing the first two.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's right. Probably there between us.
Many things.
Doesn't matter. I can do it online. On me. Joe, yeah?
Trying not to say. Like all the station.
He's standing there. He's with the hat on the corner. All the staff are standing. He's sitting there.
He's not coming. Yeah.
Okay, don't know. Okay.
Oh. The red flag. So if you all want to stand.
Their hearts will die.
No, you know.
I just do it at the top.
Andy,
Everybody else.
Andy, every paper's...
That's great.
You're not selling these now, are you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, yes, you are.
Yeah.
You get that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll deal.